Welcome to the Israel Daily News Podcast. I'm your host, Shanna Fold, and I'm here to get you caught up quickly. I've got some top news stories for you today from Israel, and guess what? You're listening, so you're already on top of your game. Survive and thrive, people. Knowledge is the best weapon. Today is Thursday, June 5th, 2025 in the Gregorian calendar, and the 9th of Sivan in the Hebrew calendar. Now, let's get to the news. The IDF has recovered the bodies of Judi Weinstein Haggai and Gadi Haggai, two Israeli Americans who were taken on October 7th and then held in Gaza for all this time. The two were a married couple and were U.S. citizens. They were murdered during Hamas's brutal onslaught on October 7th, 2023, in their hometown of Kibbutz Nir Oz in the south of Israel. Their deaths were confirmed by the IDF back in December 2023. The IDF has not yet officially commented on this. The Jerusalem Post has a nice piece highlighting the woman, sharing information about 70-year-old Judi Weinstein. She was an English teacher who specialized in working with children who had special needs, using meditation and mindfulness to support kids with anxiety. She was also a poet, known for writing daily haikus and sharing them on her Facebook page. Judi and her husband, Gadi Haggai, were walking near Kibbutz Nir Oz that day when Hamas terrorists attacked and abducted them to Gaza. Judi made calls to emergency services asking for help, noting that her husband was on the ground and unresponsive, and she said that she had been hurt in her face. The duo had been described as the power couple of Nir Oz and met on the kibbutz years ago when Judi heard Gadi playing the flute and, according to her, fell in love. After the return of their bodies, the family expressed gratitude to the IDF, the Israeli and U.S. governments, and all who supported them, but said that their hearts remain broken until the rest of the 56 hostages still being held in Gaza are brought home. Terror factions in Gaza are currently holding on to 56 hostages. Of those, 55 were abducted during the October 7th Hamas-led invasion. The IDF has confirmed that at least 33 are deceased, 20 are still thought to be alive, and the status of 3 others remain unclear. I saw some reports that seemed strange to me, but our sources over at BNN say senior Israeli security officials confirmed them, that Israel is arming Palestinian militias in Gaza to fight Hamas and protect humanitarian aid distribution centers amid growing political controversy over this covert operation. The armed groups are made up of local Gazans who are neither Hamas nor Fatah affiliates. Israel has given weapons to enable these groups within Gaza to defend themselves against Hamas, who have been notoriously harboring aid for themselves and being a menace to society, using force and threats against locals. The covert operation was approved by Prime Minister Netanyahu without cabinet knowledge or broader security establishment awareness. The matter has since been brought before a classified Knesset committee where security officials, including the head of the research division, were questioned about the weapons transfers. The last 3 days have been hectic at the aid distribution centers. Yisrael Beitenu leader Avigdor Lieberman, who is the head of that political party, claimed during a radio interview this week that Israel, quote, supplied assault rifles and light weapons to crime families in Gaza under the direction of Netanyahu. I-24 News says the individuals who are being armed by Israel used to be members of ISIS. That's shocking news. I'll be following this story. The United States vetoed a UN Security Council resolution that called for an immediate, unconditional, and permanent ceasefire in Gaza, as well as the release of hostages and unrestricted aid access. U.S. Ambassador Dorothy Shea said the resolution fails to condemn Hamas or require the group to disarm and leave Gaza, arguing that this could undermine ongoing diplomatic efforts and embolden terror. The 14 other members of the Security Council supported this resolution. Israel's ambassador Dani Danon condemned those backing it, accusing them of appeasement, while Hamas criticized the U.S. veto as evidence of American bias. With the Security Council at an impasse, diplomats expect a similar resolution to advance to the General Assembly, where it is likely going to pass. Thank you to news writer Perry Schwartz for writing some of our top stories today, all the way from the United States. And thank you to our partners at Bernie News Network for providing us with reliable updates. To get into their WhatsApp and Telegram group, head over to their website, bernie.news. I want to thank all of you for your interest in Israeli affairs, Israeli politics, our world politics. I also want to thank all of you who personally finance and fund the Israel Daily News podcast with monthly contributions. You can support us by going over to our new website, israeldailynews.org, and clicking on donate. The Patreon link is over there, and you can send us a monthly donation using the Patreon link. There's also an option for a one-time donation. Our organization is operational thanks to listeners and supporters like you. A big thank you goes out to Marianne Vollinger for her monthly support and for signing up for our Patreon month-over-month support program. In response for your contributions, I'll send over a handwritten thank you note to show my appreciation. Follow us on social media at israeldaily.news. We're on X, YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. Our page just hit over 15,000 followers. You can also follow my personal page at Shanna Fold. My name has 2 N's in it, and I'm very sensitive about that. I saw a shocking headline about Canada looking to incriminate Israelis with dual Israeli-Canadian citizenship. This has been brewing for a while, meaning the Canadian Federal Police have been working on a list of names and started the investigation in early 2024 to see if they could find alleged war crimes committed during the ongoing Israel-Hamas war in Gaza that were carried out by Canadian Israelis or Israeli Canadians. This is according to the Toronto Star News, which released a report on this months ago. Now it seems to be confirmed as the Canadian police do their probe now publicly. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police, RCMP, confirmed the ongoing probe, but withheld details, citing the need for impartiality while the investigation remains active. The inquiry, classified as a structural investigation, aims to collect evidence for possible prosecutions or referrals under Canada's war crimes program. Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney recently joined other world leaders in condemning Israel's blockade of Gaza and warning of further action if humanitarian access were not restored. Well, a lot of trucks have been going into Gaza in recent days. While Israel maintains that it targets terrorists and takes precaution to avoid civilian harm, critics argue the high death toll and aid restrictions raise serious concerns about violations of international law. The irony on this is that according to Canada's Justice Ministry website, legislation around war crimes were actually first initiated in Canada to prosecute Nazis who had escaped into Canada after World War II. I'll quote, "The first steps in the development of a broad Canadian war crimes program were taken in the mid-1980s when it became known that a considerable number of Nazi war criminals had gained admission to Canada through a variety of illegal or fraudulent means. Then Canada created a well-known commission of inquiry into the presence of Nazi war criminals in Canada. Think about that." In 2009, archaeologists uncovered a broken limestone mug in the ruins of a Jewish home on Mount Zion, destroyed by the Romans in 70 CE. Although it resembled typical Jewish stoneware used for purity reasons during the Second Temple period, this mug featured a mysterious inscription in an unfamiliar script. Experts identified at least 3 writing systems on this one mug, including Cryptic A, previously seen only in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and noted the the absence of word dividers, making the text difficult to interpret. Scholars believe the engraving had an esoteric or religious purpose, possibly linked to ritual purity or mystical practices involving God's name. The discovery highlights the complexity and diversity of first-century Judaism, where various communities followed different customs, beliefs, and expressions of their faith. Well, I hope that you're having a good look at those. We're going to put up pictures and video of that on our social media if you're just listening and you're not watching, but you can watch on YouTube and Spotify, where we're uploading video as well. All right. Well, that is it for today's show. Today is Thursday, June 5th, 2025. Tel Aviv has a low of 20 degrees Celsius and a high of 27 degrees. That's 68 degrees Fahrenheit for the low, going up to 80 degrees for the high. We are everywhere. Don't forget to sign up to our Israel Weekly News Wrap. The Israel Weekly News Wrap is a newsletter with the top 5 stories coming out of Israel from throughout the week, and of course with a personal note from me at the top. You can sign up for that at israeldailynews.org. I'll send you off with a song called Four Bavot, or Arba Bavot in Hebrew, by American-Israeli violinist Ariella Zeitlin. Enjoy this song and have a great and productive day and an excellent weekend. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.